Hi, Whitney. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you. I want to thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's no worries. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So I'm just going to dive right in. I know my readers and my viewers are anxious to learn more about you because you inspire. And so thank you for being a part of this She Inspires interview series. So tell me about yourself, Whitney.
Okay. Well, my name is Whitney Barkley. I currently reside in Cincinnati, Ohio, originally from Columbus, Ohio. I'm currently a marketing manager for a nonprofit in Cincinnati called Education at Work. But outside of that, I do a lot of other things. I'm very active in the community, working with at-risk girls, helping them with self-esteem and confidence, and as well as being a mentor. So one of the things that I want to do and one of my long-term goals is to own my own marketing firm, specifically for women, and I'm currently in school right now studying marketing and communications to achieve that.
Okay, that's amazing. So tell me, so is this what you've always wanted to do, help young girls and help them build their self-esteem?
Well, it didn't always start off like that. When I was a kid, I was always at a cross between journalism and teaching. I've always wanted to do one or the other.
Okay.
I always felt like both had the capacity to help other people. But when I really realized that I wanted to help other women was when I was about 19 years old. Around that time, I really started to really understand myself and really like myself for who I was. Because as a young girl, I had very low self-esteem because I was small. So I wasn't like the other girls, wasn't fancy, wasn't fly. So I kind of went through this journey of learning how to like myself. And I know that, in order to have any success, confidence is really half of the battle. So I really hope that I can help other women learn that as well.
Wow, that's extraordinary. That's an amazing story, how you just kind of grew into your own. Okay, so at what point did you figure it out? You mentioned, being 19 and where you are now. At what point did you figure it out, what you were supposed to do? You
Okay.
kind of touched on it a little bit.
Okay. So, well, it all started when I was 12 years old. So back in the day when BET had a lot of videos, everything showed. I mean, it was a certain body type that I desired to have. Like I had always wanted that body type. So I mean, what I would do, I mean, people would say, "Oh, you're so skinny. Oh, you need to gain weight." So that's what I literally tried to do. I tried to gain weight. So I would try to eat literally anything that had the most calories, anything that could put on pounds. That's what I wanted to do. But I realized that I wasn't gaining weight. But what I did realize is that I was getting sick. So because I used to eat, pretty unhealthily, I I used to have like panic attacks. Like my heart used to race. Like it used to be really bad. Like I was eating McDonald's almost 3 times a day just because I wanted to gain weight. And then I realized that, it was really hurting me. So what I did, I mean, I changed my diet and then I took a look at myself and I can remember because it was like one of the last times that I had a really bad panic attack from the food that I ate. And I realized that it just wasn't worth it. I mean, if people were going to like me, they were going to like me for me. Like it didn't matter what I tried to do. Like if someone likes you, they like you genuinely for your personality and who you are. I mean, the other things are a perk or a plus, but ultimately they will learn to like you. So I do remember that moment. I was at my college in Wilberforce University, which is in a little itty bitty town called Xenia, Ohio, literally in the middle of a cornfield. So I kind of had my self-realization there.
Wow, that's amazing. Next question. Tell me what are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? I think one of the things, or really the biggest thing that I'm afraid of is failure. I've kind of lived a life of trying to obtain perfection, which is not really a good thing. But ultimately, I'm afraid of failure. But something that I'm trying to do to kind of get over that is to realize that it is okay to fail because I feel like because I've never felt failure before, I don't know what it's going to be like to hit a certain rock bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of waiting, anticipating that day, when I do actually fail at something. I think I'll actually be relieved because when you spend so much time trying to be the best or trying to be perfect, there's so much pressure. But I think once you achieve failure, which kind of sounds oxymoronic, but once you achieve failure, you'll learn what you can do better next.
You're absolutely right. And internalizing all that pressure, that actually affects your emotions, your moods, and your health. So you're right. And so I know what it's like to be a high achiever and to put all these extra things on yourself. You always feel overwhelmed. And so I don't know if you can relate or not, but failure, we don't have to look at failure as a negative. That's when some of our greatest teaching and learning moments happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm trying not to stress myself out as much as I used to.
Good.
Always been a 4.0 stellar student. But now that I'm in graduate school, it's a different game. I mean, I'm working full time. It's nothing like undergraduate school. I feel like it's probably twice the amount of work.
Yes, I
But
agree.
I'm excited about it, though. I am excited for the work because it's giving me a challenge. And if I fail, I think it's okay. Like, it's really okay. And I think I'll come to terms with that if that does happen.
It is okay. It really is okay. Now, you told me a little bit about your latest endeavor with the young girls. Tell me a little bit more about that. Elaborate.
Okay, so earlier last year, I started something called the Skinny Black Girls Code. The Skinny Black Girls Code is really, it's kind of highlighting my story, and there are other stories as well. I mean, I've known several different girls over the years, and we've all shared the same journey about being petite or skinny. Contrary to what a lot of people think, they think that most people who are thin, they have it all. Like, you should hear the things that people will say to you, like, oh, you can eat anything, or oh, you'll get different types of comments that
Sure.
come towards you. And some people may think that these comments are okay, but sometimes they're actually pretty offensive. So
Mm.
I've talked to a lot of young girls and women, and to my surprise, I mean, they do share the same journey. Like, we do have self-esteem issues that does exist for skinny young black women. And I think that's something that I wanted to bring awareness to, because we put a lot of emphasis on like obesity and
Mhm.
and for being overweight, but there are consequences and there are problems for girls who are skinny as well. So the Skinny Black Girls Code is really just to kind of highlight that untalked about subject, but at the same time, I want it to be a platform where all women can feel inspired and empowered. I want to bring my journey to light, but of course, I mean, I want to highlight other people too who have had that journey through self-esteem and have learned to gain self-confidence.
Wow, that is huge. And it's like an aha moment because you just wouldn't think, in everyday life that smaller women who are, quote unquote skinny, that they have self-esteem issues. You just wouldn't think that. That is wow.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really bad. I actually just posted something on our Facebook page. A girl that I went to middle school with, I reached out to her via Facebook, and she told me that when she was young, she thought she was too black, too skinny, too dark, and then she said one day she decided to write "I am beautiful" in her mirror, and she told herself that every day until she actually started to believe it. I mean, and now she's just like the flyest girl in the world. So it's like you can tell that she embraced her confidence. Like, if you went through her pictures and if you can see like the progression of when she was younger until when she's now, you can tell that she's really learned to accept herself. And I think that's really important for other women to see.
It is. Good for her. Good for her. Kudos to you for helping her along in her journey, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So next question. What tips do you have for other women who may want to do what you're doing with helping young women or with whatever you're doing, like the positivity that you're giving these young women and reaching out to them?
Well, I would say the first tip that I would give is to be comfortable in your own skin. Ultimately, everyone has flaws, everyone has problems, but ultimately, you should try to know yourself well enough to where you can extend a hand and help someone else. Another tip I would give is just,
Mhm.
don't be afraid. I mean, if you want to start an endeavor, like I was nervous, like to start the Skinny Black Girls Code. I'm like, will people really like believe this? Like, will people take me seriously? And trust me, like I've had some people to say, like, what is this? Like, this is silly, but really, it is something that is very serious. So, be really passionate about what you do, and don't be afraid of what other people have to say about what you want to do in order to help others, because there's always going to be someone is always going to be someone's always going to feel the same way that you're feeling on the inside. So I would definitely say don't be afraid, and and like I said before, just have that passion. Make sure that the passion is there. Like, don't embark on something that you're going to half do. Make sure that you give it 100% at all times.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're right. Someone is always going to have an opinion about what we do that they don't necessarily agree with or even understand. So I mean,
Hmm.
you're right. And something else I was going to tell you, but I completely forgot. But it's okay. Okay. Tell me one of the most embarrassing things that happened to you recently and how you overcame it.
One of the most embarrassing things. Um, and let me ask, in the context of this question, is this professionally or just anything that has happened?
It could be anything. Keep it PG, but it could be anything. Anything, maybe you tripped up the stairs at work or at a conference, or maybe you fell at a concert or fell in Target. Just what happened, and then how did you come back from it?
I think most recently, I think at work, the most embarrassing thing I've probably done. I'm usually like very careful with like grammar and spelling, but for some reason something happened grammatically that kind of slipped my eye. And the sentence read something that it wasn't supposed to read. So
Oh,
unfortunately, I was able to catch it. Someone else caught it too. But
oh,
I think that was probably the most embarrassing thing for me because my background is in journalism. That's what I initially started off with in my undergraduate um, path. And so I'm very, very meticulous, and I try to be very detailed. So when I do get those things, it is very embarrassing for me.
okay, I got you. So that's one of my fears with being on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. When I have typos, it's like, I feel like, wow, I feel like this is it, but I don't know why, but that's how I feel. And I'm not a journalist, but I'm a writer, so that's how I feel. So I can kind of relate. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
No
Next
problem. See,
question:
you
Do
can
you
get
have
away with
any
it on Twitter.
last words? You did what?
I said you can get away with it a little on Twitter now. I mean, because only have so many characters. Someone might say, "Oh, she just tried to abbreviate the word." So, don't feel too bad on Twitter.
I'm going to remember that. That's a note to self, right? I'm going to remember that. Thank you. So, Whitney, do you have any last words of encouragement, strength, or silliness for
Encourage,
our ladies?
strength, or silliness. I would just say, really, I mean, you only live once. Make everything that you do in your life count, because I feel like if you really, and I think it's a quote from Socrates. It's an unexamined life is not a life worth living. Really understand what your worth is, what your strengths are, and figure out how you can maximize that to live the best life that you can live. So that's what I would encourage any woman to do. I would also say, always make sure that you reach back and help others. It's all about helping others get to the next level, because I believe that's the biggest part of success, is to make sure that you can share it with other people as well.
That's amazing. Paying it forward and reaching out. That is literally amazing. Thank you. Last question. Where can we connect with you online?
Well, you can connect with me on Twitter. My Twitter name is @therightgirl_. You can also visit the Skinny Black Girls Code if you're interested, and that's www.skinnyblackgirlscode.com. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn under Whitney L. Barkley.
Awesome. Amazing. Whitney, I cannot thank you enough for just sharing your journey and your truth with us. And it has been amazing speaking to you. Keep up the great work and encourage and inspire.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.